So you've been doing this for quite some time. How long you been playing keyboards or the organ? Or were you
Oh,
a drummer before or a
oh,
guitar player before that? Some people.
no, sir. That's all in your department. But I first started playing, I mean, professionally, it's been quite a number of years. Um, I first started playing, came into professionally at St. James, um, playing for the youth chorale, actually. And
Hmm.
that was many, many gray hairs ago in the days of my youth for the youth chorale. It's when I got introduced to the organ. Not quite playing professionally then,
Okay.
but that was the introductory point to my musical career for churches.
Hmm. How old were you
Yeah.
then? Were you young fella?
I started out in about middle school, so I'd say about maybe 12,
Okay. All right.
14. Yeah.
And you start playing. You had a keyboard at the house or something, or your parents bought you a
Yeah.
piano?
Well, actually, my dad had bought a piano. It was an upright Kimball
Uh huh.
for my mother. Go figure.
Okay.
But the kids got a hold to it. My oldest brother, there's six of us, five boys and one girl. And my eldest brother, Charles, he kind of like was the trailblazer of the musicians,
Okay.
keyboard wise. And so he kind of started, but we all passed by that way by that Kimball, and I was the last one to get a hold of it at the family piano.
Hmm. How many brothers and
Yeah,
sisters you have?
four brothers besides myself and one sister, and I'm the youngest of six.
And all you guys play music? Every one of you, or just you and your
Well,
brother?
no, not all of us.
Okay.
There's about 50% of us, about three of us that are bona fide musicians. My eldest brother Charles, then my brother Mark.
Mm-hmm.
He's very versatile instrument wise, and then myself.
Okay.
So you got one at the top, one in the middle, and then the last one.
Did y'all ever try to put a band together or something like a family band, like the Jackson Five or anything like that?
Well, no, it's ironic that you should ask that
Because we're
question
coming
because
together right
some
now.
people they've been asking, why don't you guys do more together? You're so musically
Yeah.
inclined, they would
Yeah.
always say to us. Because all of my brothers and sisters, including myself, we either play and or sing.
Mm-hmm.
We're all actively in ministry. All of us are ministers,
Nice.
including my sister.
Okay.
And so our family comes from a very diverse family of ministry. We have generations of preachers
Oh, nice.
in my family.
So you know the word.
My yeah, my grandfather, yeah, my father's father, who is now, of course, he's resting with the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Bless the
He
soul.
started us. Yeah, he was a trailblazer in ministry for us on both sides. Though my mother's family as well had ministers in her family as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, you get
So
so you guys did you just play music on, or did you do some sports also as well?
not a lot of sports in my family.
Mm-hmm.
Not in my immediate family, no. Yeah, but we have a mixture of ministry as well as those who have served in the armed services.
Uh-huh.
My dad was in the Air Force. Brother served in the my brother right over me, Christopher. He served actively in the Marine Corps. And then my niece, I just had to retire about 2 years as a chief in the Navy.
Oh, nice.
I had an uncle in the Army, yeah.
Did
So we
so
have quite a bit of.
you didn't
I'm
go to the
sorry.
military, girl, though, right?
No, that's not my forte.
Yeah,
No,
mine either. I just
no.
barely made it. They stopped the draft. I hate to tell you how old I am and let the audience know, but they start the draft when I was in the 10th grade. So you can count that if you
Wow,
want to. I was so excited because,
wow.
but I was going to go to college anyway. So I already had a plan. But yeah. So when you moved into the music, what do you guys do for fun? Did you guys play chopsticks on the piano, or did you guys do some some creative music together, or you never played together?
We have had opportunities in the past where we played together.
Hmm.
We did have a family concert. Years ago. My mother was still with us then. She's also deceased now since 1998. She passed in August of 1998. But
Hmm.
back then,
Hmm.
we had a family concert at my dad's church. He was pastoring at the time.
Nice.
And so we had nieces, we had the brothers and sisters. My mom sang.
Okay.
My dad even sang a song, one of the hymns, one of his great favorite hymns, "Great is Thy Faithfulness."
Oh, that's a good song.
And yeah, that was very powerful. It was very emotional,
Hmm.
and because his life tying in, that's his testimony as well as it is mine.
Yeah, I can see that because
Yeah.
when you're playing, we all feel you. Everybody in the church feel you. You know. So when
Wow.
you became a professional, what surprised you? What made you, if you had your thoughts, like I was always thinking I'm gonna be, I don't know, someone like Prince, Michael Jackson, whatever. But I knew I didn't make it. So, what surprised you in being a professional musician? Did everything go according to like you figured it would?
Well, it did not go according to how I thought it would be.
Okay, that's what I
It's
want to hear.
it gets kind of sensitive. Not that I'm ashamed to talk about it, but it
Hmm.
was not easy
Okay,
for me coming up.
okay,
As a young musician, my heart was there, and then we kind of get over into the church hurt issues coming up in my church at the time.
hmm,
There was this one instance in particular where the regular weekly musician had not arrived yet. And
right,
so I was asked to take the instrument until he got there. Long story short, uh, some things were said around me that were very disconcerting, was very hurtful.
uh huh,
He's not good enough. Da 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 da.
yeah,
Why are we
right,
not waiting
right.
for such? So as a kid, you can imagine that would be quite
Oh, of
painful.
course, of course.
And so I came home that night. I was just distraught. I was just devastated. Tears and everything. It's like, wow, in church and you get treated like this.
Hmm.
And so I told my mother I would never play for another church again. Those are my exact words. I was done. I said, if I can't be accepted in church, then where can I be accepted?
Yeah, yeah.
You know. And so at that particular time, I had conceded to give up church music and playing for churches. Well, we all know that didn't happen, but
Hmm.
that's another story, another interview, because that would take too much time to really break it down.
Sounds funny.
Yeah, but the Lord,
Well, I'm just gonna say, my story is kind of similar to yours, but just the opposite because my mother made us go to church every day from a kid. And even though
mhm,
she wouldn't go, she would send us wherever we lived at, whatever the nearest church down the corner. We'd be going there.
mhm,
Then when I got old enough not to go to church no more, I said I'm not going to church anymore. And then my mother say, "Well, why don't you go play for that church because they need a musician?" I said, "Ma, I'm done with church. I'm not going no more.
yeah.
You made me go since I was a kid and on grown up. I'm grown now. For the last say, 18, 20 years or whatever. I'm grown now." And she said, "Well, they'll pay you." I said,
Right.
What? Wait a minute. And at that time, John, you
Wow.
probably don't know this about me,
Changed your mind.
but I played keyboard for 3 years in high school and 2 years in college. So that's what she
Oh
said. You play keyboard,
wow.
go down to church and play the keyboards. So, and my father played in a gospel quartet band. He played bass guitar and guitar. So I've been in the church and all kinds of
Wow.
music. So I went on an audition for one of his friends that was a pastor of the church. He said, "Yeah, well, you hired. We need you." So I played keyboards for probably about 2 years, and I met two other keyboard players that were way wickeder than me. I said, "You know what? I'm gonna go play bass. We have a little band here. We got a plethora of drummers. You can play organ, you can play piano, and I'll play bass. I think we got." And I've been
Mhm.
playing bass ever
We
since.
good to go.
I've never
Wow.
turned back around. So I think about your story on what you talk about quitting. I said, I was already quit, but then my mom turned me
Wow.
around and said, "Go, just they'll pay you." I said, "Oh, I didn't know musicians get paid. I just thought, only the pastor got paid, if that.
Wow.
What's your feeling about
Well, I
music?
went.
You ever hear about musicians getting paid? People kind of try to, "Well, I didn't know y'all shouldn't be getting paid. Y'all should be playing for free." You ever hear that story?
Oh yes, many, 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 many
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
And at this particular juncture in my life, I could give actually two vantage points because I've been on both sides. I've
Mm-hmm,
served on both sides
mm-hmm,
now as a musician as well as from a pastoral vantage point. But my take on that, um, I believe that. a workman is worthy of his hire, but
Yeah.
it's a very sensitive subject, especially for people in church, because it's well, freely you receive, freely you should give. I understand that part, but then there's a dynamic of if you're doing this full time,
Mm-hmm.
and especially if you're doing it full time, not exclusively, but you have to provide for your family. And a lot of times people don't really look into the caveats that go into it in terms of bringing equipment,
Oh,
burning gas, coming to rehearsals, going to outings, music preparation, studying your music, perfecting your
yeah.
craft, set up, breakdown. All of these different things go into being a bona fide professional musician. It's not just about sitting down playing music for an hour and a half to 2 hours and everybody goes home.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But for the
agree.
musician, there's a lot, like yourself. I see you bring in gear, you got to take off, you have to pack that stuff up, and you're out the
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
It's wear and tear on your back,
It is.
your body, so we have to consider everything. And in my opinion, not just have a dogmatic viewpoint as beating musicians down, saying you don't deserve to get paid, you don't need to get paid, this is for Jesus. Of course it's for Jesus. But Jesus had a treasurer.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure
it's,
did.
it's all biblical.
Sure
He had
did.
a treasurer. It takes finance to do ministry, and as sure as if you're going out in the secular industry, you're not playing for free.
Nope.
Can I get an amen?
Amen.
You're not going to do it. You're
No,
not
I'm
going to
not.
do it. Your time is valuable. Absolutely. And so when you understand, and I say this with all humility, when you understand your worth, I believe a lot of people, and I'm so guilty of this. It's not a bad thing, but I would not accept. I went for years and never took a dime.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm.
Years from my early days until later on,
Okay.
I never took a dime. I played for free. I went to rehearsals. We went to outings. We had concerts. Never took a dime because I love my music. I love my ministry, and I still love my
Mm-hmm.
ministry. But things evolve.
I know people ask me,
Children start coming.
would you play for
Mhm.
free if you didn't get paid? I said, I think I would because I love the people I play with.
Mhm.
I really enjoy music. That's the focal point there. It's not the money. It's,
Mhm.
and the money does change. Sometimes you don't get as much as
Absolutely.
you thought you're going to get. That's fine too because I'm not there for
Mhm.
the money. I have other avenues. But
Right.
you were going to say something. I think I cut you off when I asked you that question. Do you remember the thought that you had that you were going to? You had
I'm not sure what you would ask
what it
at
was?
this
Okay.
point.
Okay. So, what are some of the things that musicians talk about that the public doesn't know that I guess I can say that we talk about? Some things that just a regular Joe Smo watching this podcast would see and say, I was wondering what kind of conversation they have. So a lot of times they're whispering to each other, or are they telling jokes, or are there what are conversations that you have when you're talking to other musicians on the platform of the stage? Things that
Common.
that we don't know you're talking about. What are y'all talking about over there? We playing music. What are you talking about?
Oh my God, that's such a broad question because
Probably tell
well,
them what
I'll
song
use
you're gonna
us.
play, but
I'll use our group
okay,
for an
that's fine.
example.
That's fine.
When we come together, well, it's very unique. I really thank God for the core of musicians that we are
Mm-hmm.
because it's extremely rare when you have a group of collaborators, and as I like to call it,
We'll
co-operators.
operate.
Endless possibilities of subjects that we could talk about. It just depends. It could be about our outfits, because you guys always teasing me and talking about how dressed up I am and
You're
stuff
so
like
sharp.
that. I mean,
You are so sharp, boy. Ah,
is is all I can say, Derek, is I like to dress according to my heart.
mhm.
For me, it's not a thing for to score points or to fish for compliments. It's how I feel about myself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we
And
can tell
then
you
and
feel
then
good
sometimes,
when you look good. We can tell you feel John feeling good. Look at this boy here. Man, I love it.
oh man,
You think it was I wish you had a fashion show going on and you come through with your coat and
oh
your hat and
no,
scarf. That's John is leading it. He's leading out here, boy.
but you not too. You ain't hurt neither.
No,
Now,
but
'cause you come in with yeah.
I like you though. I aspire to be like you, John. I'm telling you the truth. Some of the things you
Uh,
wear, man, I would love to wear. I wish I had something like that, you know. But
well,
you look good
my
in it.
wife has a lot to do with that.
Does
Well,
she?
thank you, sir, so
Yes.
much.
Bless her.
Thank you
Bless her.
so
Bless
much.
her. Because it's good to have a good soulmate, a good person to be by your side to keep you in line. You know.
Amen.
You know. I mean, but keeping your line. What are some of the? How do you balance your creativity with business? I mean, you got business and you got your work, and you're trying to balance that you also get paid and try to make sure that everybody's. How do you balance all that together? You know, I'm sure a lot of inspiring minds would like to know how it's done. You know.
Well, balancing is an individual priority. You have to really assess where you are.
Uh huh.
And what I teach my children is the application of elimination.
Okay.
You know, things that are not as important, move those things off your plate because they only sap energy that you could be placing in other more important places. So
Mm-hmm.
the process of elimination is very effective, but you have to assess that no one can do that for you. You
Okay.
know the different things that take more of a top priority.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you want to expend your energy so you can
Mm.
pour your best self
Okay.
into those places and not spread yourself too thin doing this, and this. You know, because a lot of times, uh, from a musician standpoint, if you are, how can I say, if you are dependable,
Mm-hmm.
if you're good at your craft, your phone is always ringing.
True.
It's always ringing. If you know what you're doing,
True.
and people know when they say Derek Washington, what's the first thing pops in people's minds?
He's all right. He's not that good
I,
a bass player, but
here's the thing:
he'll be
people
on time.
know,
He'll definitely be on time.
and that's a strong point.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
Yeah.
So people say Derek Washington, and they automatically think punctuality.
Punctuality.
That's a facet of Derek Washington's personality and professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
So they know if they dial your digits, he's going to be there if he accepts. He's going to be on time.
That's correct. That's one thing I
Now
learned
that
that from a church in Trinity. The pastor would be right at the front door with his watch with the choir standing behind him. And as soon as it hit that solid 11 o'clock, he'd do this to the keyboard player and we start.
you
And
start,
every on
yeah,
time. So I've been trained that way because it used to be we'd wait till the keyboard player get there or organist, whoever got to be there. We'd be waiting for them to be. Sometimes they 5-10 minutes late, and church get started when they get there.
wow,
When I was younger,
yeah,
you know, some of the smaller
hmm
churches, but when you start getting to some of the bigger churches, you got to be on time. And over at
you
the
got to
Hope,
be
you
on
got
time.
they start on time. That's one
They
thing.
start on
They look
time.
at that clock. Okay, it's time. They got all
Yep,
recording mixes and everything ready to go to start right on time. You know.
ready to go.
So, what are some of the lessons you learned the hard way, you know, as a musician during your journey? You know, something that you hit on a lot of them tonight already. So, but what's one that you know gonna say, wow, that was the Lord really pulled me through that one.
uh, do you mean from a professional musician
From a
standpoint, or from a
yes,
spiritual standpoint?
professional musician standpoint.
Take the time to learn your material.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say it will be one of the top because one of the lessons that I've learned is, and I'm not one. I do not like to get up to play anything and I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm.
You know, so in my earlier years, you know, sometimes I didn't always know.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't always my fault because sometimes music wasn't given to me in enough time, but it can be very humiliating when you get up and you don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
It has a damper effect on not only the choir or solos that you are supposed to accompany. It makes you look bad. It pulls the service or the program down. And so that was one of my, how can I say, requirements as I was starting to come into my own, into
Mm-hmm.
myself
Mm-hmm.
musically, is please make sure that I have the material in hand so that I can give you the best, you know, that I can give, because you're asking me to do your service, and I want to be able to provide that service to the best of my ability.
Do you ever feel like you haven't given it your best, or do you feel like sometimes I've overdone it more than I probably should have done, or you right spot on?
Well, no, it's not a bullseye every time.
Mm-hmm.
I think each time a musician plays is a brand new experience, and they could
Okay.
have been doing it for 30, 40,
Yeah.
50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
There's always a freshness
Yeah.
to music. It's a universal language. And so as we learn to support our ability to be bilingual, I'll put it that way,
Mm-hmm.
because we speak more than one language. Musicians are very unique in their art. They're unique in their craft.
True.
It should be a conversation as opposed to opposition and competition. It should be a conversation
Mm-hmm.
between musicians.
Which I've seen
We
you do
should
that.
know how to speak to one another.
Yeah.
You know, you say something to me, I'll answer back. That's making music.
I agree.
Not to say that, okay, well, I'm going to take everything for myself. I'm going to play everything. I'm going to step all over everybody. It's about me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, but yeah, you see people like that though. You go to some churches or in
Absolutely.
bands or whatever, you see people who do that and just you shake your hands. Okay. Well,
You know, I'm just going to just take everything,
yeah.
you know. Yeah, and it's really, really sad. So
Yeah.
knowing how to really communicate with one another is an art in itself. And I really believe that musicians, when we accept that we are conversationalists in the world of music will become much more beneficial to the ear.
Mm-hmm.
It'll become more intriguing to those who are listening, and it's good for us because music is spiritual.
It is.
It is.
It is.
You can't get away from the spirit aspect of what music is. And if it wasn't important, God wouldn't have created it.
Mm-hmm.
And He's sitting in the midst of music as we're having this conversation.
I'm enjoying this conversation because everything you said tends to lead into my next question. I'm like, he's almost going to steal my thunder here.
So that's God.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask, how was your playing and your mindset? How has it evolved over the years from when you first started playing to, half of what your playing life has been, and then to where you are now? How has it evolved? Sorry, I would say wrong incorrectly. Evolved. How's that evolved? Your playing and your mindset.
Wow. My playing and my mindset.
Yeah, because you kind of hit on a little bit of it.
Well, I'll say this, that when I first started playing, it was back in the 4th grade. That's when I first sat
Mm-hmm.
at the piano. It was in the 4th grade. And from that time, I've always had a love for music. Music actually is in all of our blood. In my family,
Okay.
music and ministry is the fiber of my family.
Okay.
The ecclesiastical side, the Levitical side runs really strong in my family, the preach word and the music.
Mm-hmm.
So being exposed, my parents exposed us to music at a young age. As a matter of fact, my mom and my dad met in high school singing opera together.
Okay.
They sang opera together, and that's how they met. And they got married. They had 6 children, me being the last.
Mm-hmm.
And so my experience was, as I was evolving, from my younger years, and as I started to become more active in community choirs and playing for my church, everything was affected.
Mm-hmm.
My mindset, because there were some personal involvements with God that I had on a personal level. It kind of ties back into the early part of our conversation about when I said I was going to quit playing.
Mm-hmm.
For churches in particular, because it was too painful. And then it really attacked my self-worth. It attacked my ability, because I wasn't the best. I'm still not the best musician, but it's the potential
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to hold on this part. The potential from a spiritual aspect, since we're talking, well, I won't say church musicians, but
Okay.
musicians in general. But the spiritual aspect of it was very personal because it was during that hurt that God had to pour in the healing salve.
Hmm.
First of all, he chastised me when I thought he was going to comfort me. And he told me, he says, don't ever say what you're not going to do. That's what, and the first time I really heard God audibly, and I've shared this story with musicians and people before, and I don't know who this may be for, whoever's for, God bless you, be
Hmm.
encouraged.
Hmm.
But the Lord chastised me. He says, don't ever say what you won't do in my house. And with the tears going down, streaming down my face, he said, wipe your face. And this is a true story. And so I'm literally trying to squeegee the tears out of my eyes. And he says, look at your hands. And so I'm trying to look through the tears, sitting on the edge of my bed, look at my hands. He says, you don't understand the gift that I've invested and put in your hands.
Hmm.
You have no idea.
Right.
But in time, I'm going to teach you how to shift atmosphere. And at that time in my life, the prophetic ministry that I flow in now was just developing. I didn't know that the Lord had instilled a prophetic uh, impartation in my life, musically, now even more so verbally.
Hmm.
But musically, he had to break me down to build me up. And that same principle is like going to a weight room. You know, you're going to the gold gym to literally break your body down
Hmm.
to build it up.
Right.
That's literally the
Yeah.
process.
You
The
tear it.
fibers of your muscle, yeah, that's where the soreness comes from,
That's correct.
and it builds in new strength.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So musically, sometimes we have to be broken down. Sometimes our egos need to be broken down
Yeah.
so we can come back stronger. Sometimes our attitudes need to be broken down. Our, how can I say, when we feel like we're not good enough, that needs to be broken down because we all have a voice and we all have an interpretation. And so your voice, Derek, even though you're not the only bass player,
Hmm.
see, now God got me ministering to you,
Go ahead. I'm listening.
but even though you may not be the only bass player, you're the only bass player that does what you do the way God gave it to you to do.
Amen.
And other bass players may be inspired by Derek Washington, but they can't be Derek Washington. They can't do what God designed you to do with your thumbprint.
True.
And so we have to learn to stop attacking.
Yeah.
You know, I had someone, very, very reputable musician right here in the city of Detroit,
Okay.
said some really nasty things. I won't really go into this full spectrum, really
Uh-huh.
nasty things, very arrogant things. And it was just very hurtful.
Okay.
And I said, you know, how can someone that can half decently do anything, you know, put down others or be insulting to others,
Hmm.
you know, but in the church at the same time, it doesn't equate.
They're
So a
broken.
lot of times people hide. Yeah,
Yeah.
people hide behind
Yep. Yep.
their musicianship. They'll hide behind even their anointings,
Yes. You're correct.
their titles. But the real issue of their heart, out of the heart, the mouth speaks, out of the abundance.
Hmm.
So if you have arrogance in your heart, somewhere it's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that.
So I don't know. I may have given a little bit too much.
No, no. Because I was going to ask you, given the fact where music is going with AI and all the stuff like that, how do you feel about where you think the gospel music is going? Because a lot of the music is not like the music I grew up on. But of course, I gotta either adopt to it or either probably get out of it. One of the two. How do you feel about the new music and the way gospel music is going and how things are being written by computers and things and AI?
it concerns me.
Hmm.
I'm very concerned that the digital and technological industry, however we want to put it, is really invasive on a lot of levels. It will never displace, I don't believe, or replace what we carry in our spirits and our hearts
Okay.
and levels of creativity as human individuals that are uniquely designed. It'll never duplicate. You can't, and it's ironic we're speaking about that because me and Ron had this conversation last week about AI and stuff like that, this
Hmm.
very question.
Okay.
And I said, look, you can't replace heart and soul,
No.
not from a computer keystroke, not from a microchip,
Hmm.
because that microchip has not gone through the brokenness that I've gone through.
Nope. Very well
It
put.
hasn't gone through the rainy nights.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone, yeah, it hasn't gone through these type of things. So it can't duplicate heartfelt soul.
When they
But
started
I
doing
think
sequence music, that to me took the heart soul out. When they started, you push a button and everybody got to play to this. And it sounds good in the studio, maybe live on the radio or something, but in the church itself, it just, that heart soul portion, as you're talking about, is gone, you know.
mm,
You know,
yeah.
with that being said, I'm not sure if I cut you off, were you going to add to that?
Oh no.
What would you
No,
tell
you're
young
fine. Go ahead.
musicians who are coming into the church to play any instrument or keyboard or organ? What would you tell them to sustain them or to uplift them, to be encouraged? Those who are listening to this, watching this, what would you put on their
I
hearts?
would tell them, I would tell them to stay in a place that's close to God,
Hmm.
first of all,
Hmm.
because as church musicians, we're a bit different than secular musicians. Not that we're better than them, but the paradigm of ministry, and this is something that's very, very close to my heart,
Hmm.
is being a minister of music as unto the Lord must be taken gravely
Hmm.
serious. This is not, to whoever sees this, let me just do a bullet point right here.
Go ahead.
This is not a gig. Please dispel that philosophy from your spirit, from your mind, because if God has blessed you with the gift of musical interpretation, if you stay under the canopy of his spirit,
Hmm.
God will incubate, he will expand the potentials that he placed in you before your mother ever met your father.
All right.
You are a designer's original. There's none like you. Doesn't mean that you're better than anybody, but there's none like you. And there's a voice that God has given you that he is seeking expression. Music is expressive.
Yeah.
So when God impresses, he seeks expression out of your voice as he has ordained for you to do. Stay close to God. Stay humble. Let me get real close to the camera. Are you seeing? Stay humble.
Stay humble. If you don't do nothing else,
Stay humble.
yeah, stay
If
there.
nothing
If
else,
nothing else.
because that's one of the greatest, yes, sir, one of the greatest enemies to musicians. And you can go to chapter and verse on this
Hmm.
because Satan understood before he was Satan, he was Lucifer. He was the chief musician, the chief cherub. He understands the logistics of praise and worship that God has instilled in your hands, in
Hmm.
your mind, in your ears. Pray that God opens your ears to hear another frequency, another sound at another level. You're not just, if I can shift and deviate just a little bit here, you are not just a musician, but then you must translate to the minstrel's anointing because minstrels prophesy through their music.
Hmm.
Minstrels play music and interpret music, but minstrels prophesy, they shift atmosphere. If you're going to be in church, then be anointed where the heavens are open where the preacher can hear, where the choir can sing. Because before they hear the preacher, they're singing Judah first. It's the musicians. It's the Levitical priesthood that precedes the spoken word. So what you do, and I'll cut this short,
No, you don't have to.
is extremely important. And so I want you to be encouraged in your spirit. Don't ever downplay your gift as if it's less significant than someone else's, because we grow from grace to grace, glory to glory. So keep climbing, keep listening, keep practicing, keep praying, keep fasting. All of these type of things are investments. I preached a sermon a couple months ago entitled Investments. And basically the thesis of that message was what you do and don't do make a difference. So when you stay before God, it makes a difference. It's an investment. When you pray over your ministry, it's an investment. When you're sitting at the bass or at the keyboard practicing, it's an investment. And so everything that you invest from your heart, God is seeking a return on his investment.
Yeah. I like the way you put that.
Yeah, he's seeking a return. And returns never come back just the way you gave them. They always come back with interest. And that's where your blessing is. He gives you more. He sprinkles more grace on the top of your head, sprinkles more anointing, more favor. All of these things are synergistic as unto the Lord. So I would just encourage every musician, not just young musicians, to stay under the canopy of the Lord's inspiration and his guidance and his leading, and everything will be all right.
Do you feel there's a difference in gospel music between Baptists and Methodists and Church of God in Christ, and the number goes on? You just name however many you want to. Do you feel it's different? The music is different, or the mindset is different, or how they come together with music is different? What's your thoughts on that? Have you always been at the church you are now, or you've been at other churches as a minister of music?
I have served as minister of music before in North Carolina. One of the largest actual AME churches. I served as minister of music. While we were down there almost 5 years. I served there about 3 to 4 years. But in terms of my career, it is very diverse with the churches that I've worked with over the years. You know, I grew up Baptist. My dad was a Baptist pastor. His father before him was a Baptist pastor. I played for Church of Christ. I played for United Methodist. You know, so there are a few different denominations that I've been with over my tenure as a musician. But as far as the music being different, I don't think that the music per se is different. I think that there is a plethora of varieties of listeners within the church sector and sitting out in the audience that interpret these songs in different ways as it pertains to them. The words of the song never change. The music never changes, but everybody doesn't receive music in the same way. Some people think we shouldn't sing this in church, or we shouldn't sing that. But all of these are opinions. You know, as long as it's biblical, and this is just my opinion, I'm not forcing this on anyone.
Of course.
But as long as it's biblical and it supports the word of God, the purposes of God, I think we should sing it.
Well, John, I can't thank you enough. I got one more question, but I just want to tell you how much I appreciate. I know you and I have been trying to, hook this up or get together, and I appreciate your sacrifice on allowing me to spend this time with you, to learn you and know more about you. And I'm sure this is going to help a lot of other people. This is my final question. If you could, of all musicians that are past or present, either or, who would you like to be? And I'm not going to be upset you didn't choose me as a bass player. I'm just, I don't want don't choose me. A bass player, musicians, who would you love to be with? And they could pass on, gone on, people such as like Tommy and others, who would be your dream team that you would love to play a couple of songs with or a concert in?
Wow.
Now, trust me, I'm gonna
More than one
I ask
person or just
everybody this question, so everybody gonna name off.
one person?
What?
or
No, the whole name all the instruments, or if it's just you and another person, whatever. What would be? You wake up, it's, oh man, I thought that was real. That was a dream. Okay, who would it be?
well, who would it be?
You'd be on organ,
Wow.
or would you be on piano? Let me ask that question first. Which instrument would you
It
be on?
doesn't have to be church,
No,
just in general.
in general. What instrument would you be on first?
I would probably be on organ,
Okay,
but I would have to say if it's not exclusively church, I would have to say Joe Sample.
Joe Sample on piano. Okay,
Joe Sample on piano. That was his instrument.
yeah,
Because I absolutely loved Joe Sample when
me
he was
too.
here. Had a chance to meet him.
Did you? Where at?
I had a chance and take a photo with him. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
down at the music hall when he was here with Layla Hathaway.
You might have to send me that picture so as I'm doing this pop the picture up with you and him together.
He,
But yeah, the Jazz Crusaders, and then they changed to just the Crusaders. I've been following them.
yeah.
I love all their
Then he
albums.
went solo.
We went
Yeah,
solo.
yeah.
Yep. So it'll just be y'all two,
But
just
I'd
you
have
two.
to. Well, okay. Myself on organ, Joe Sample on keys. Uh, we could even put Layla back on the mic vocals
Mm-hmm.
because Layla ain't nothing to sneeze at
No,
either.
not at all. Not at all.
Not singing, But as far as percussion, I always rant and rave about Ron Otis.
Mm-hmm.
Ron is that's a
Yeah.
bad brother.
He's coming up next.
Oh my
I
God.
believe his show will be shown before you or after, but no, he's coming up. He
Okay.
consented that I can interview him as well. So I have some very interesting questions to ask
Awesome.
him. I know him and I talk, and I said, our only job is to be able to name that tune in 3 notes. We were back there laughing. We wait to see what we doing.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's amazing.
So just you 3 and the singer. No guitar player,
Yeah,
no bass player, no congo player, no horns. What else? Other instruments can we throw in?
We'll put you on the
Violinists.
bass, man.
Throw me on the
We'll
bass.
put you on the bass. Hold that low section down.
Hold that
We'll
low section
have
down
you
for
on
you.
bass.
Okay.
Maybe put Sheila E on percussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. I'd have a ball with that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's a dream team. Dream team.
Yes.
But
Yes, sir.
when you get a chance, send me that picture if you can. I'm sure you got on microfiche somewhere.
I'll try and dig that up.
Yeah.
I'll do my best to find that for you.
Well, I appreciate it. And I'm going to let you go so you can get some rest. I know you got to get up early in the morning and take care of business. But